Hi, Dr. Mel. We're busy with graphs. In the previous lesson, we did the gradient of graphs. Now we're going to work on the area of graphs and we're going to conclude the graph section. So let's jump in and see what can we work out if we've got the area. The area of a graph. Now, where will you find a triangle in a graph? Please have a look at your previous lesson and see that many of the graphs that we drew were triangles. So the area beneath the graph, remember it's the graph and the x-axis, will be worked out with an equation half length base. That's what you've done in maths, and you've did this many years in, I'm certain you started in primary school. The area of a rectangle will give you another value when we work with graphs, and you've seen graphs like that. So let's get going with displacement and velocity. So if I've got a velocity time graph, you know I can have a velocity time graph that's in a constant velocity. Let's get the area of the velocity time graph. And area of a triangle will be length times breadth. If I work in that 5 seconds, I actually have 10 times 5 giving me 50. You have to be able to say, what did I just calculate? Well, the length was meter per second and the breadth was second. And if you have a look at that, if I multiply velocity with time, I actually worked out meters. So what did we do? We calculated the displacement or the position that was covered in 5 seconds if you traveled at a velocity of 10. And that makes complete sense that you then covered an area of 50 meters. What happens if I've got a graph going like that? Well, again, the area will now be that of a triangle. And let's get the triangle. Let's say I've got 5 seconds there and I've got the 10 meter per seconds there. So it's half times the base, which is 5, and I've got the height of 10. And if you calculate that, you get 25 meter. So what did we actually calculate? We said we've got the base, which is seconds, and we had the height, which is meter per second. And you now see that I actually worked out the displacement at a velocity that's increasing in 5 seconds. So you are going to apply area with all the different graphs. If I've got acceleration, you know we are only working with constant acceleration. If they ask you to calculate the velocity from the acceleration time graph, you then go and you calculate the area. So the area for a rectangle will be length times breadth. It is 4 times 10, and it gives me a value of 40. Let's work out the units. It will be meter per second times, no, per second square, because it was acceleration, times second. And if you calculate that, you'll see you get to meter per second. So I calculated the velocity by getting the area under an acceleration time graph. This will be one of the applications that you'll have to do. They're asking you, you've got this velocity time graph. Firstly, work out the acceleration. Now, you know I can work out the acceleration of a velocity time graph by getting the gradient. And gradient will be delta y over delta x. Your y in this case is velocity. So it's delta v over x will be time, delta t. And let's work it out because they said in 3 seconds. So I've got v final minus V initial over T2 minus T1. The final is 5 meter per second. The initial was 0. The time is 3 minus 0. So I've got 5 over 3, which gives me a value of, what is it, about 17 meter per second square. And you see that's a positive, so you can say to the right or to the initial direction, because acceleration is an vector. So really make sure that you know the acceleration from velocity time is the gradient. Let's do the second question. They say to me, work out the displacement. Now we just did that. The displacement from a velocity time graph will be the area. And be careful, they asked me in 6 seconds. So it will be the area covered under the triangle plus the area covered in the rectangle. So let's work out the complete area, which will be the displacement. So the area will be half base height, which will be a half, 3, and the height is 5, plus the rectangle, length times breadth, which is plus, remember, it is just 3. Make sure that you see, I've already calculated that. So it's 3 with the height of 5. So what I have here is an answer of 15. Oh, let me change that pen so that you don't get confused. Plus 7.5. And if I actually do this calculation, I see my displacement was 22.5 meters. And again, displacement is a vector, so I have to say to forward or to the right or east or whatever direction they gave me. So I can calculate the displacement of a velocity time graph using area. A final note on velocity and time graphs is that you need to know, I can also calculate, for instance, the gradient, which is the acceleration, or I can calculate the displacement with the area. Make sure, even if it is in a negative or another direction, that you know it's still between the axes, the x-axis and the graph. Please make sure that you work out the right dimensions. I'd like to show you a presentation of 3 graphs. So I've got position 1 going up, then it's going that way, and then it stops there, it's forward, and then it's coming back. So what this is a displacement, or as we abbreviate displacement as x. X represents the position. This is the gradient of that one, and you'll see this is the velocity. And if I found the gradient of a velocity, I then get the acceleration. Why did I put this into this presentation? That you see, work in sectors, work in defined spaces. Don't look at the graph as a whole. Obviously, it's a whole question, but break it up into sections so that you can actually work with smaller parts and then see that it's much easier to do a calculation. Let's quickly refresh. If I've got a position time graph and it looks like that, the gradient will be 0. So the velocity is the gradient of this, which is 0. So that will be 0. The acceleration will again be the gradient of that, which will be again 0. On the other hand, I can have a displacement that's like that. So if this is the displacement, it means it is moving. This gradient will again give me velocity. I will now find a velocity like that. The gradient of this will be 0. And that's represented on this graph. So the position is changing. The gradient will give me the velocity. And do you see there? It's delta x over delta t, giving me velocity. This gradient will be 0 because it's maintaining the same velocity. Let's have a look at another graph. I've got a gradient, displacement of that, and this has a gradient. If I work out the different sectors of gradient, I will find a velocity time graph. And this will have the same gradient. So that will be the acceleration. If I go to that picture, this position is constant. The gradient of that will give me the velocity, which is 0, and the acceleration, which is 0. Let me quickly tell you what can happen if I've got a graph like that. It's acceleration. I can now work out the area beneath the acceleration time to find the velocity. And the velocity will then be a graph like that. The area underneath the velocity time graph will again give me the position or displacement, and that one will look like that. So, very important. We can either work from position to velocity. How do I do that? I work out the gradient. If I've got a velocity time graph like this one, I can work out the acceleration again with the gradient. On the other hand, if I've got acceleration, the area under that will give me the velocity. And the area underneath velocity time will give me the displacement. Make very sure that you understand from which one I'm moving to the other one. I can also have a graph that has got a negative gradient. So if I work out the negative, this started at the position 100 meters and it walked back to wherever you stood. It took that person 100 seconds. That would be a negative gradient, thus that line at the bottom, and again, no acceleration. This will be a summary in most of the textbooks. If I've got a stationary object, stationary position, no velocity, no acceleration. There's uniform change in displacement or position. That gradient will give me the velocity. Again, no gradient for a line like that, no acceleration. And finally, there is a constant acceleration. This was our exponential displacement. That will have a difference in gradients. Therefore, I find the velocity changing, which means it's accelerated. On the other hand, I have no acceleration, so I can't work out the velocity. There's no area, and again, I won't be able to work out the area that way. So that is not any graph that you'll ever find. What you will find is a velocity time graph where you've got to work out the displacement, and you do that with area, or you might find acceleration to work out the velocity with area and the velocity to work out the displacement. So just in short, if I'm at displacement, I can go to velocity, I can go to acceleration with gradient. If I'm at acceleration, I move back to velocity, back to displacement with area. One of the examples that we're going to do quickly is a time graph with velocity on the y-axis. It's a truck, and they're asking me to calculate the distance and the displacement. And you've done in vectors and scalars the difference between those two after 15 seconds. So let's quickly interpret. I've got an increase in velocity to 4 meters per second. So I know it is accelerating. It is maintaining that velocity for that time. So there's no acceleration. And then it's going from 4 to 0, so it is a negative acceleration. It stops there. Look at that. It's 0 meter per second. It probably turns around because it's to the other side and it accelerates to -2. So let's do the first calculation. They asked me the distance and displacement. I will work out displacement of a velocity time graph. Can you remember with what equation? It's area. And the area, they said in 15 seconds, would be that portion there, which we can say that's portion 1. This is portion 2. This is 3. And this small piece there will be portion 4, which will also be that. So I've got half a base times the height, length times breadth, which is portion 2, plus half base height, plus half base height. Now I've got to work out the different areas. Let's see what you find. I found that area there to be a half times 5 times 4 plus, make sure that you know it's plus, the next one, which is 7 times 4, that one would be plus again, half 2 times 4, plus a half 1, and make sure that you put in that sign. It will make a huge difference to your answer. So what we got there was 10 plus 28 plus 4 minus 1, which gives me an answer of 42 meters. So let me quickly just explain. This truck moved away. It went faster, maintained a constant velocity, and then slowed down and stopped. And then turned around and came back. And that's why I'm doing a -1. So it's important. So the displacement is 42 meters, let's say, to the right. If we actually go to work out the distance, it doesn't really matter if it changed direction here because distance is a scalar. So you'll have exactly the 4 sections. The only difference will be you actually add that one. So it will be area 1 plus area 2 plus area 3 plus area 4. And it will be exactly the same answer. So you'll get 10 plus 28 plus 4. And where we in the previous one worked out a displacement -1, it will now be +1, which will give you a displacement of 43 meters. And remember, it's a scalar, so distance, you'll never indicate the direction. Right, can you work out a question like this? Yes, you can. You will be able to work out from velocity the gradient to find the acceleration as well. Let's go and see how another question will be asked. They're giving you an acceleration time graph. It's a car starting from rest. So it started with an initial velocity of 0, and they tell you for 2 seconds it's accelerating at 2 meter per second square. It's done at a constant acceleration, so it's not accelerating, it's staying that, and then it is slowing down at -2. And they asked me to calculate the velocity. So acceleration time graph, velocity will again be the area under the graph. It will be that area minus that area or plus that area with that minus value. So please have a look. How do you calculate that? It's easy. It's length times breadth because it's just length times breadth, length times breadth, and you'll find you get 2 times 2, which is 4, and you'll get 2 times 2, which is -4. So careful if you work out the velocity from an acceleration graph that you can see you actually have 2 different velocities because it accelerated and then it slowed down. And that will be the answer. Right. Another example, that was the acceleration, that was the area. You calculated to be 4. Then you had no area, therefore it remained at 4, and this one had a negative 4, therefore it went down to that. And as I said to you, maintain your section so that you can actually see where you got that answer. I'm asking you again, can you determine the position from a velocity time graph? Velocity over time, the position will be the area. If it's a acceleration time graph, you can calculate the velocity. So acceleration over time will give you the area, will give you velocity. Let's just quickly have a look at the types of graphs. We said position time, velocity time, and acceleration time. The gradient will give you that, the gradient will give you that, the area will give you that, and the area will give you that. And that's in short what you have to practice. You can study this, but if you don't practice, you won't get these questions right. So go out, see if you can do a few examples, and in our next lesson, we'll do 2 examples where we'll work out gradients and where we will work out area. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Bye.